a city of movement, survival, and constant negotiation for space. From road medians to sidewalks, from drainages to bus stops, informal use of space has become part of daily life. But as a city grows, so do the tensions between order, safety, and livelihood. Today on The Conversation, we'll be discussing informal space control here in Lagos, and we have the Honorable Commissioner, Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development. You're welcome to the show. And also we have a consultant, Engineer Bola Awolusi, CEO, Octagon Multi-Project Limited. You're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
First, I'd like you, Honorable Commissioner, to give us an overview of your ministry.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development in Lagos State plays a very, very vital role in terms of defining the course of action for the physical layout of the state. What that simply means is that taking charge of the land resource that we have in Lagos and dividing them into proper use for the benefit of the people. And also by extension, to ensure that the development that is put on it is done in line with the anticipated plan for that's what we've done. So I can say in summary, it's on two parts. We have the one on the former land, which is as defined by the boundary of the land by way of survey. Now, for this new one also that is not covered by the survey, which we call informal spaces or incidental open spaces. So the ministry is saddled with the responsibility of managing both formal and informal spaces in the state.
Okay, for people who do not understand, what informal spaces are, can you talk about that? What these spaces are all about?
Yeah, thank you very much. As a matter of deliberate policy, when plots are laid out, you don't lay out the entire plots. Sometimes you have some band of land that is left at the end of the plots, or when you have when you define the road alignment, there has to be some setback between the edge of the road.
Is that why they draw like two yellow lines on the road, and then they say you can't park beyond that?
That is still part of the road alignment. We are talking of from the end of the road, in most cases, which is normally the drainage. Which is normal. So the space you have between the drainage and the property line. So that is an informal space. And this happens deliberately to secure the plots, to maintain beauty in the environment, and sometimes it's left deliberately when the development of the road is faced. What I'm trying to say is that if it's planned that this road should be 4 lanes here, 4 lanes here, but for one reason or the other, we want to do 2 now, and the 2 will come in some years to come. So that forms an informal space, which we must ensure that we manage properly. So that's.
We're talking about informal space control in Lagos, and Honorable Commissioner has outlined the overview activities of what you do. But again, people might not really understand why these informal spaces should be controlled. So, Engineer, can you enlighten us?
Yes, thank you very much. To start with, I want to thank our Honorable Commissioner for making time to be here to throw more light into what the concept and the idea of informal space is. And also to thank Mr. Governor for making this happen at this point in time. Mr. Commissioner has been going all around to begin the process of advocacy and then to explain the meaning of all these informal spaces. These informal spaces, based on what Octagon has understood from what the planning rules say, are categorized into 3. I would say the setbacks, which Honorable Commissioner has explained, which is the provision for maybe future expansion, and then provision of road furniture, street furniture, infra, and then other facilities that are ancillary to that road, so that as you create the road, you also need to provide that space. So these are the road setbacks. Also, you have the setback for a building, which is the additional space that must be in front of the footprint of your building. Maybe the physical planning would say that's where you should have a parking space or some other facilities within the perimeter of your surveyed area. Now, these are setbacks. That is the building setback and then the road setback. These structures, they require some space. Apart from that, then the common areas, the areas that are used by all of us, but they are not really owned by anybody. They have not been documented because it's for public use. And then the roadsides, the median, and all those spaces. Now, the essence of this whole exercise is to fulfill what the Bible of the ministry has said in terms of these spaces have been planned for future use, for expansion, and all those things. So those plots of land, Octagon, we have identified them throughout the state. We've combed the entire state, and we've identified the spaces. We shall now begin the process of documenting it. Government wants to document every square meter of land in Lagos. The use must be the use must conform to the standards that have been set by the state's planner, which is the Ministry of Physical Planning. So we're stepping in to ensure that what government wants is done in all those spaces. If you've got a space where you've occupied for 10 years or whatever, this is the time to come proper in front of the state. Now, because we want to gather this database, we want to know who is where and what are they using it for. The planner of the state has already earmarked the spaces for specific uses, such that one does not conflict with the other. So we shall, as engineers and financial analysts, we shall ensure that this is followed to the letter, and that's why the advocacy has begun now. Thank you.
We all know that most of these informal spaces have been, overtaken by informal businesses. So the questions, on the lips of many Lagosians is that, why are we having the control now? Is it really government controlling space or displacing livelihoods?
You see, what we must realize is that in Lagos, every square meter of land matters. Matters. And we're taking it very, very seriously. Now, you have a scenario where normally when property boundaries are defined, you will have some buffer before the road. And if you go around all the states now, you will see that people deliberately just build shops and kiosks abutting the fence, and which is part of the reason sometimes where you have traffic, because commuters will stay to negotiate or things like that. So these are things we want to put in order. And if you take, for example, the Ojo axis from Ojo down to Mile 2, you will see that the road alignment has not been fully occupied, which means there is still room for expansion of the road in future. So that's left over now has been occupied by people, those selling iron rods, those selling wood and all that. So sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't make sense. But the purpose and part of the function of the ministry is to actually take charge of those spaces, which we want to do now. You will also observe that most of the car washing places that we have, majority of them also leads to the damage to those roads, because for you to be washing cars, you need water constantly, and there has to be proper plan for the drainage of the water. So if that is not taken care of properly, it causes problem. And we have seen as government that a lot of resources is pumped into maintaining those roads. So the whole essence now is that we take in charge all the spaces. And you agree with me that what actually defines the so-called first world is the use to which they put all these informal spaces, be it London, Dubai, or New York. It's the use. If you are coming down from the plane, you look down, you see some scenery, some orderliness. You know. The same plus layout is everywhere in the world. Town planning, rules of town planning is universal.
Okay.
But what makes the difference is the use that you now put it to, which we want to take charge now.
Okay.
All right, this morning we read on our news, we have News Point segment on the show, and I took the report talking about the Lagos State government's plan to give Obalende Bridge a facelift, environmentally sustainable design suitable both for CSR initiative and of course the government. And some of the things that that was specified in the report says that that place there will be a motor garage, a public toilet, sleeping bays, electric vehicle charging points. I'd like you to speak more on that.
Yeah, thank you once again. The Commissioner for Environment has been doing a lot of work in terms of clearing under bridges in Lagos State. Sometimes ago, they were in Obalende area to clear miscreants who have actually spoiled that area. But the whole essence is that you have the bridge infrastructure which aids transportation. But aside that, even the garage that is done there is not being put into proper use. However, there is also some adjoining structure, which is part of this informal spaces we are talking of, now, which has to be done and designed to complement the transport hub that is there. So the whole idea is to redesign that place into various uses. And we are doing, just like you have stations everywhere in the world. Is it Liverpool? Is it, all of it goes with a lot of activity because you have commuters who, large number of people at a certain period of time who want to do one thing or the other. So all those events are things that has to be planned, that it flows properly. If you go there now, you see most of the people selling, is it bolly, is it slippers, handkerchief, just
informal trading.
Informal trading. That's not, there's nothing that says that it cannot be organized properly so that they still do their businesses at the same time maintain sanity in the environment. So that's the whole essence of that, to marry little businesses with planning and comfort for the people. So that's the whole idea.
Okay, as an engineer, I want to find out, from your own perspective, what are the failures caused by unregulated use of roads, setbacks, and drainages?
Yeah, thank you very much. One of the biggest challenge that has posed, because in urban developments, developments spring up here and there, is that this has caused some traffic chaos in very congested areas of Lagos.
The Honorable Commissioner also talked about damaging.
Yes. Yeah, now, it also wears out the infrastructure, especially road. Also, the street furniture, the electric poles, and what have you. They are all exposed to vagaries of risks and everything. Now, with this orderliness we are injecting into
the word orderliness.
That we are injecting into the system would ensure that whatever that is here will complement what is there. So we shall go through a methodical process of ensuring that what the Lagos State government wants to happen in every bit of space in Lagos will be fulfilled. Now, because this is an arduous work responsibility that we have to do, in order to decongest the most congested areas in Lagos, we shall then invoke the rules that have been set by the state. We've done this in various parts of Lagos. The very highly congested locations, Ido, where the Ido
bus terminal.
terminal,
Yes,
and also the railway station, you know, and then Obalinde that you mentioned. You know, we had to partition Obalinde and then say this is what will be here, how other both commercial and social activities would intermingle within all these spaces. We did the same thing there. So, and one thing we have always ensured was that nobody will be worse off in any of these locations. So we've secured the assurance of the ministry that people who are already there will not be displaced. They may be relocated, they may be displaced, but they may be relocated to a more suitable place because they may not know whether where they're staying is very suitable for them. As engineers, we shall provide the infrastructure support, both soft and hard infrastructure that would make this happen, such that one activity does not affect
the other
adversely the other. If you've got a mast, we need to be sure that your mast will not give you an advantage to be overlooking someone's private property and what have you, or radioactive substances. That's what you achieve through adequate planning, which is already there in place. So you may get to the ministry and they tell you that, sorry, we may not approve this. They've got their reason because maybe that space has been earmarked for that purpose. We experienced all of this whilst we were interacting with the ministry. We ensured that anybody that will be displaced would be adequately catered for in the form of, we find a better space for you, and that's what you see that would happen going forward. So we find a better space for you, put you there, and you have a defined time span to utilize the space. When government now wants to expand that road or to provide ambulance facility, for example, in that particular space, we tell you, we check our database because that database would have been generated. So from that database, we can easily call you and then move you to a new place. Now, because we do not want an overlap in terms of one ministry coming to ask you for X, another ministry asking you for Y documentation. That's why Mr. Governor has said the ministry that is in charge of the planning should be the one to say, okay, by the roadside, this is the space, and it must be used for this purpose. Now, we realized in the course of our feasibility and everything that some of these spaces are already occupied. And so where do you move them to?
They've been there for years.
And they've been there for years. So what we shall do is to determine the relevance of that particular development there, and then recommend to government where they could move them to. The interesting thing is that in most cases where we have done this, we have actually sought and found more comfortable spaces for these people, and that's what you would see. So with the injection of the right kind of engineering solution with financial solution, we shall create the economics that would trigger this and make it to make sense to everybody, even the artisans, up to the level of the artisans. They are looking for good space where they can be comfortable to do their work. We shall find those spaces for them.
It depends
and
on
also
who they
for
are
the greenery, for the green areas too, because we also have to ensure that the entire ecosystem factors in the green. So the ministry has, even in your building, they say the percentage green you should have there. Some places they will say 20% green, you know. So the same thing for the entire state. The ministry would have determined what percentage of the land we have in Lagos should be for green, what percentage of that should be for agriculture, you know, the agricultural land for subsistence farming, not the large scale, you know, we've got not much space in Lagos. So every at the end of this exercise, every square meter of land will be properly optimized and accounted for and properly managed, such that going forward, the traffic you see at maybe Obalende, Ido, they would no longer happen.
Okay, I like
Thank you.
I want to ask Honorable Commissioner, about something you said. I like the fact that you mentioned orderliness. I like the fact that you said manage, but Lagosians are asking right now that why is it now? Okay, why now after this has been happening, after this informal spaces have been used over time, and they're asking, is it a matter of planning failure or overpopulation in Lagos State?
It's not it's not a planning failure at all, and you can take up your responsibility at any time you so desire. So I think for us coming out to take it up now, I mean, it's just that we decided to do it, and it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
However, let me just, for the benefits of people that are listening, what we do, for example, from the ministry is that, okay, this is a barren land. With all the rules of planning, you now divide. Let's have industry here. Let's have educational here. Let's have residential here. Let's have commercial here. That's how it's done on that level. Now, it's the same thing we want to bring now out on the informal sector. And just like if we say this place should be residential, it is not Ministry of Physical Planning that will go there and be building a residential building. No.
Of course. Yeah.
So the same thing we are doing on these informal spaces, the core function of the ministry is to plan, which means we determine, we give life that this is what it should be. And by way of what we call operative development plans, we go now into specific or design of recommending the type of buildings that could be done in that area. Let's say 2 floors, but that kind of thing. So it's the same thing we are bringing into these informal spaces now, which is now going to be operated by the real operators. For example, if you have a power line, power line is such that people, there shouldn't be heavy activity underneath it. And from time to time, even TCN, they go around monitoring that. So, but that doesn't mean that you should just leave the land, for nothing. So there are some activities by planning that could go in there. If you observe, you will see what we call urban agriculture. Those that plant vegetable. It's maybe 1 or 2 persons. They will be there, clear up the place and do the. So they are not disturbing the power line. So that's a good use to put under those power lines. Now the same thing will be replicated in the, just like what you have in I just said one of the foremost bank. What they've done there at I just said VI.
Even Falomo.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be only in that area. We can replicate it in Yanobaja, Abule Egba, Songo, and the like. So it's a matter of bringing people out to let them see the advantage. The same thing what we have in Alausa here. It will amuse you if you come on a weekend. You see family with children, come and relax there. So it shouldn't be only in Alausa. It can be other areas in the state. You can also have recreational activities, sporting activities where children can go down and play basketball and play football, long tennis, and so these are things that we are coming up with, which of course will enhance the status of the states and also benefit the people economically. And that's why we are partnering with the private sector, so that we have the synergy of both the public and the private. So it will help us to comb the town and get interested private people who are ready to operate and collaborate with us, like what I've just said, the Alausa green area now. We can also have it there. So a private initiative can come and drive that, where we as government will provide all the enabling environment for them to do. So that's the whole idea.
I'm still talking about that as a follow-up to what you have just said, how are you also collaborating with other agencies like LASPAC and the others in ensuring that it's not like one is collecting job from another, but you're synergizing?
That's why I gave the example. If we say a land is mapped for residential, we as fiscal planning, we are not the one that will go there and do the building of those houses. It's housing and all those related to that. So it's the same thing here. Right now we've done the mapping of the whole informal land in Lagos, and we have about over 3,000 hectares of informal spaces in Lagos, and scattered over almost over close to about 2,500 different areas in Lagos State. What we do is to look at that place and come up with the best use that can go there. So if we observe that for the purpose of that enclave, the best thing to do is to landscape the place. We have LASPAC there. So we just call on them, hey, we have this area that we think you can plant, and we'll give them the details, because there are some areas that the type of plant you can grow there so that it doesn't grow to disturb other things. So we give them all the basic, our own basic planning tools, and we pass it to them, and they come there. If we find an area that is suitable for garage, we call transport to come and take charge. Place for especially those that are selling cars, so they are operated under Ministry of Transport. So we call them. We know that the purpose of their business is that should be in the open. So once we've seen an area and it's designed for that purpose, we call them in to take charge, and we'll give them the guidelines. This is how it should be. So we are not going to be the operator. We are not involved. It's for us to define the uses of those spaces and get relevant MDAs to take charge.
Okay, just before we go, how do you want citizens, residents of Lagos to support, this project?
Yeah, it's important for them. Like I said, the number one thing is that it will enable us to have a record of all the land in Lagos. And it will also enable with what is assisting us. We have the database of every inch of land that is given to anybody. And the timing will also, because some of these informal spaces might be used in the near future. So if, for example, somebody is given a place and the road infrastructure is to be expanded, maybe in 3 years' time, it's our responsibility to get to them and let them know. So that's the whole idea on this.
So, Joy?
All right, interesting conversation, educative, but I felt it was very short, but
yeah. My producers,
I need a part 2 for this, but we need to
my
go
producers
now.
are screaming in my ears.
We must thank you, Honorable Commissioner Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, Commissioner for Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, for sharing insight on the conversation, and Engineer Bolahon Awulusi, CEO Ultragon Multi-Project Limited. Thank you again for
Thank you very much.
The engineering insight.
Thank you.
The conversation continues after. Stay with us.